So the penultimate round is done in the Premiership. I'm going to go through 3 of the games in detail in this video. Sale versus Leicester, then Bristol Saracens, Exeter Harlequins. The other games I'm not going to look at in particular detail is Newcastle versus Bath, where Bath get it done away from home. Big win there. Newcastle still can't win. It's going to come down to that last round against Gloucester, the other strugglers, to see if Newcastle can get a win this year. Then we've got Northampton, Gloucester, and Northampton 90, Gloucester 0, an absolute smashing. Northampton obviously bouncing back really well after Champions Cup disappointment. Gloucester, well, they've changed a lot of that team from their European Challenge Cup win there, because they're in the final of that, and it looks like they're protecting players, rotating players. But you don't want to get beaten by 90. Even if it's going to be a tough game and you're probably going to lose, you don't want to get absolutely stuffed, score 0 points and nearly concede 100. That doesn't help anyone, but their season all hinges on this final in that European Challenge Cup. Northampton, it's fun to score 90, but do you get a lot from it? I don't know. But anyway, let's have a look at the table. And what it does, it means Northampton are guaranteed a home semi-final. That is big. So on Super Saturday, they could rest some players if they want, if there's little niggles, or they could rest loads of them, or they could just keep the team rolling. Be interesting to see what they do. I'm guessing they play a pretty strong team and try and keep it rolling, but if players have niggles, they might rest them. Saracens, with that big win we're going to go through, they're definitely in the playoffs at least, but they're going to want a home semi because that is absolutely massive. It really is. Bath are going to be on edge because they're hosting Northampton, top of the table, of course, in the last match. If Bath get anything from that game, any sort of bonus point, then they're safe in the playoffs, but still they could drop out. Saracens, like we say, they're at home to Sale and they'll fancy securing that home semi in that game. They're finishing really strong. Leicester haven't set the world alight, so Exeter travelling to Leicester, they will absolutely fancy that win with a possible Sale away loss to Saracens. Then Exeter have a really strong route to jump from 5th to 4th into the playoffs. In fact, I see that as the likely outcome. But Harlequins and Bristol, they've still got a shot as well on Super Saturday, so it's going to be fantastic, really well set up. I'm going to start with my favourite game of the weekend, which was Exeter versus Harlequins, 58-26. Goodness me, Exeter turned on the style in that second half. You know, for most of the first half, it was a really good contest, and we saw Marcus Smith showing his brilliance in attack. Two-handed show and go, plus a sidestep to score. Not many other fly halves could do that in England, but then he is a double-edged sword. He dropped a fullback in this game. He went for a speedy counter-attack, but unnecessarily flinging the offload from the floor, which goes miles back from the support, and Faye-Wabusu sweeps to score. So double-edged sword, Marcus Smith in this game. Some excellence, some poor stuff as well, but that's kind of his game, and if England want to use him, maybe they do use him as an impact. I don't know, because he does some great stuff, but also some unnecessary stuff as well. Anyway, Exeter probably going through the best of the phases in the first half, which they did in the whole game. Their ball is pretty quick as well, but in the first half, Quinn's defensive line is working hard. It is containing them. I would say it looked like Quinn's tired in that second half. Is that Champions Cup fatigue, or is it just that Exeter played really well and really fast? Just before half-time, Exeter make a bit of a mistake and leave their small scrum half Cairns to defend the fringe of them all. Bad choice as Don Brandt just barges him over, smashes him into next week, and Quins have the lead just before half-time, 14-21. But in the last play of the game, Exeter get it back to 21-all, so really finely balanced at half-time. Faye-Wabusu showing his evasion skills in that last bit of the half. His power squirm, I call it, just goes through tackles like no one else can really in the English Premiership. And then the captain for Harlequins, Levis, I don't know what he was doing. It was a terrible tackle technique, kind of a high hug that he kind of folds over backwards. Fizzalau slips through like he's covered in grease. It's really weird, actually. And the fullback, John, goes in for the score. So that was a big score just before half-time there, 21-all. And then what's going to happen after half-time? It's Exeter coming out of the blocks, just flying on fire, and they stay pretty much on fire for the rest of that half. Untouchable phases. Their clear-outs are so vicious. The lights are roots. They just absolutely pound those clear-outs. Greg Fizzalau, is so athletic, really impressive in this game. Plenty of shouts for him being an England international, and I'm sure he will be at some point. We've just got so many players there. I don't think we need to rush him, and I think maybe one more year of physical development and he is going to be absolutely ready. But goodness me, he is so dynamic off the base from number 8. Anyway, Skinner rolls over from this amazing phase of play, 28-21, and the ball movement is crisp, the lines are popping, the intensity is there. Quins always have something special in the bag. When you play Quins, they can score from anything. They do like offloading. Their broken field is excellent at times, but Exeter are smart. Henry Slade, so clever, so experienced, good reads in defence, clever kicks, always thinking. Really impressive from him once again. And like I said, that intensity from Exeter is just that bit higher than Quins. Like I said, are they fresher? Are they hungrier? I don't know, but that defensive line speed is limiting what Quins can do, putting Smith under pressure. He makes a few fumbles. And with 20 minutes to go, all that energy is with Exeter, and they seem to be breaking Quins in the scrum, territory, possession, Slade nudging, a stack of penalties, stretching the lead. Really smart because they had the bonus point already at that point. So after 63 minutes, it was 37-21. Then on 64, we have the best Exeter try. Just a phenomenal backs team attack from a scrum. Perfect decoys, perfect lines, perfect timing of passes from Skinner and Slade. That frees Woodburn through, who feeds the special Emmanuel Faye-Wabusu. And somehow he beats 3 defenders. I just don't know how he does it. Power, evasion, amazing. In a tight space, 44-21. That is the game if it wasn't already. And it was a complete riot in that second half. Confidence is up, execution is up. Harvey Skinner having the best match I've seen him. Perfect crossfield kicks, sets up a good chance and they fly over. Again, it's 58-21 just before the end of the match, and Quins look like they're missing out on everything, even a bonus point, but right at the end, it could be a vital score. Marcus Smith, with a bit of excellence, catches out Exeter with a really nice grubber drop kick restart. He regathers, feeds Northmore for a big break, and Smith involved again to work it wide. Lovely finish in the corner from Liner. So they do get something from the game, even though Exeter completely dominated that second half. Let's move on to Bristol versus Saracens, and I think the takeaway from this game for me is away from home, of course, for Saracens, is they showed everything they would need if they're going to win yet another Premiership title. A complete performance from Saracens because Bristol really stretched teams and Saracens were smart. They were under the pump at times. They were dominant at times. They showed every single tactic. Very, very impressive to win away from home, 20-41. So yeah, 4th v 5th, massive game, and Saracens definitely the better team on this showing, and I think overall anyway. The first try, though, does go to Bristol. It's a really good attack. Bately, the second row, smashes over, but it was all about that razor-sharp snipe from Harry Randall. Goodness me, is there a sharper, more agile, quicker thinking scrum half in the Premiership than Harry Randall? He really is a bit special at times. 7-0 straight away. James Williams, the inside centre for Bristol, was making hay, making good breaks. But Sarri's come back on 14 minutes with some really good physical carries, and it looks like Farrell has put Daly under the posts. But a deliberate knock-on by Nalango, it maybe is a penalty try, maybe should be a penalty try, but he gets away with a yellow and they just get 3 points for that. So maybe Saracens a bit hard done by there. Nalango can do this sort of thing. He can give away some bad penalties. He's very talented, but can be a liability at times. But the Saracens attack, lots of ruck speed, looking really good, and what I liked about it is they just mixed it up. You don't know what they're going to do. They can play direct, they can play clever kicks, but also they can play going wide and offloading as well. It really was a complete performance from Saracens. They showed everything, and it's so hard to prepare for. That's what's going to be difficult about playing Saracens in the Premiership playoffs. And for Bristol, it doesn't help when they shoot themselves in their foot, which they did a couple of times in this match. But it's kind of always going to happen with Bristol because they love playing out of their own 22. That's how they're coached. That's how they're told. It's not really the players' fault. They go for broke. I just don't think it's a way of winning a Premiership. It's exciting, but can also, shoot yourself in the foot, like I said. They try and run the ball out of defence on 24 minutes. Genge drops it, and Saracens just ruthless, make them pay, with some good offloading from the forwards. Toje for the first of his tries. And then on half an hour, Saracens show they're kind of the opposite of Bristol with better decision making. They think about running out of their 22, but Farrell has his head up, he sees the space in behind and puts in a massive, I think it's about 70 metre 50-22. He spots the space, great decision. They can actually change what they do on the hoof, which I really like. Farrell's not goal kicking, so I guess he's carrying a slight injury, which maybe is a bit of a concern. Daly was kicking. But anyway, from that, they get a nice shifted drive. Doesn't quite make it, but Itoje barges over for his second. So it's 13 points to 20 on half an hour, and Saracens really, really smart play, and that sums up the game for them. Tompkins with some really clever turnovers. Gonzalez linking the play nicely, nicking the lineouts. Goodness me, Gonzalez, what a brilliant international signing he is. And it's funny because at times Saracens are playing a bit like Bristol, but then they can tighten up and play those smart moves. Let's talk also about Tom Willis, who they kicked the ball to a lot, did Bristol. He ran the ball back hard. Is he an England forward? Is he an England number 8 of the future? I don't know. He's very low error. He's very honest, very hard working. He's definitely bulked up and he's big enough. But is he dynamic enough? I just don't know. Billy V in his young days for Saracens was really dynamic. It would take at least 2 tasers to bring him down. Tom Willis, maybe just 1. So let me know what you think about Tom Willis and his international future. But anyway, Bristol, you can see they're desperate to get into their chaos attack. Ibitoy causing absolute carnage. But the line-out is a real problem in this game, and it mucks them up a good chance before half-time. So it's 13-23 at half-time. And then just after half-time, Bristol throw the kitchen sink at Saracens, but a huge defensive set from Saracens repels the waves of runners, and they actually nab themselves 3 points in the end, 13-26. But it just showed that Saracens can defend for their lives and be really physical, stopping on the gain line, which is the sort of thing you need to win a Premiership. 50 minutes, another massive moment, a yellow card. It goes a bit wrong for Saracens here. A yellow card for Itoje for a high tackle, but he's not bolt upright. He is dipping, so I don't mind that one too much. Head clash, a bit unlucky. But then Earl cops an immediate yellow for pulling down a maul. So that is 13 men for about 8.5 minutes. And Bristol look like they take advantage straight away with a good line-out maul, 20-26. And Bristol are really going for it now. They smell blood. But I don't think this is a Premiership winning game plan. That is my point. Now, Bristol with 2 extra men are going for it, but because Saracens know they don't kick out of their 22, they can kind of get the line across and not worry about the space in behind, which I think is an issue. And also Saracens do have a really good bench, which again could put them in good pole position for winning a Premiership potentially. The 2 Theos coming off the bench, Theo Dan and Theo McFarland, international quality subs. That's what you need. Saracens, of course, at their best, have a massive bench, and that was really impressive to bring on. The line-out, a real shambles for Bristol, even though they've changed the hooker and Thacker is on. And Saracens get back to 14 men, and they actually manage to work Shagan in the corner. So even though they're down a man, they get a score back, and it's pretty much nullified that period with the extra men. So 20-34, and just a case in point, Bristol go on all-out attack from deep. Yes, they like chaos, but when the ball gets turned over, they're all over the place. It looks like they're running out of pace as well. Genge and Bradbury really struggling, and Sinti just burns through a gap. It looks like he can't really believe it, because initially he thinks it's not on, and then he goes, oh, they're going pretty slow, I'll just burn straight through. And he links with Gonzalez. Like I said, just a class act is Gonzalez. 20-41, a bonus point win, and a massive statement. Saracens look like potential winners on this sort of performance. And the last match I'm going to talk about in round 17 is Sale versus Leicester. 31-22, 2 very closely matched sides, but I think the deserved win goes to the home team. Sharks continue that winning streak. Not a huge amount of flowing attack in the first half, but Sale step it up for the second. Ford and Dupree have some really nice passing. Tuolangi's obviously a really good direct threat. What a brilliant last home game for Tuolangi. That was really good for him. The Fords show some interplay. Maybe their starting backline was missing a little bit of killer pace. They had an injury to Carpenter at fullback. Aaron Reid wasn't starting, so maybe lacking a tiny bit of pace, but as a team, very impressive. For Leicester, well, Dan Kelly showed some nice runs and passes, and we've had word that Ireland Irish sides are sniffing around him, and he is Ireland eligible, or he will be, so that's a player I think they want to get into the Irish system. And the other player for Sale that really caught my eye, England-wise, was Ben Curry. He's definitely bulked up. It's something I said in the Six Nations. He's looking a little bit undersized for an international flanker. He's definitely bulked up, and his link play is brilliant. He's absolutely everywhere. Like his brother Tom, he's got an amazing engine. So if Sale do make the Premiership playoffs, they could have both Curry boys in that 23 at least. Now, like I've said before in videos, Leicester are a tough team, solid scrum, good kicking game, but that attack is nowhere near as advanced enough as other sides to unpick a good defence, so I don't think they're worthy of a Premiership playoff anyway. But we've got the first try for Leicester, which is nice and direct, some good kicking and regathering, classy chip from Andre Pollard to himself, creates the impetus for Dan Cole to muscle over. Now, there's nothing subtle about Sale's first try either. Manu Tuolangi running straight over Ollie Hassel-Collins for Gus Waugh to scoop up and score, but Ollie Hassel-Collins bolt upright, gets a yellow card as well. And the second try for Sale, Ben Curry, the feeder again. He had a fantastic side. His passing is really good linking. Sharp break around the blind. Bit dozy defending because Van Poortvliet is left out to dry by Leicester, and he has to take one man at least, and that leaves the try there, the offload to Taylor from Curry, so 12-5. But for Leicester's second try, it's Sale's turn to be dozy. Gus Waugh is so desperate to get the pass away from the ruck, he's not really looking what's happening, and he telegraphs it, and it's a really sharp read from the centre Matt Scott to intercept and score, 12-5. And then Sale's third try is the best of the half by miles. To be fair, it's a badly botched line out from Leicester, and the transition though is fantastic, created by Tuolangi, showing a bit of pace, putting a kick in, the scrambling defensive line, then Rod and that man Ben Curry and O'Flaherty with beautiful pop passes, and Sam James score. So a really good end to the half for Sale. Then straight away after half time they get that fourth try and the all important bonus point if they've got a chance of getting in these playoffs. Leicester kicked to nothing and Sale whizzed the ball from side to side with some excellent handling from the big forwards and a couple of cute kicks as well. And the second kick from Sam James is an absolute beauty for O'Flaherty to score 28-15. Sale looked good in the second half, definitely the superior side. Manu Tuolangi signing off with a brilliant game for him. He was really happy, so that's great for him. Off the bench, Rafi Quirk again, just showing he's such a good impact player at 9. With Ollie Chesham injured, interesting to see the under-20s captain Finn Carduff get another game for Leicester. He's one to keep an eye on. Now, like I said, Leicester just look a bit lost in attack. There's no real flow there. Some poor line-out errors, but there was a good impact from the subs bench with the centre Cater, who is an absolute power beast. Maybe he should start, I don't know. Poor Shilcock gets shunted around. He's their versatile player. He's on the wing this time, but he's not really a wing. He's kind of a fly half. But, he does a job, but that's a bit tough on him. And even though Leicester were outclassed in this game, they're never beaten. They keep on going. And it's a really good run in the last 5 minutes by Freddie Stewart from fullback. And big George Martin barges over the final score, 31-22. So after round 17, there is the final table. Northampton and Saracens definitely in the playoffs. Northampton definitely in that home semi-final. Bath should be okay as long as they can get at least one bonus point in that final round. Sale, Exeter, Harlequins and Bristol, they're having a bun fight for that final place maybe, or there could be some more leapfrogging. We will see on Super Saturday. Those are the fixtures. Let me know what you thought about round 17. What were the big performances? Who's going to make it into those playoffs? Who's looking hot? Let me know down below and I'll catch you next time.